He threw about the most ugly ball you ever saw.
An alcoholic NFL player arrested countless times who physically couldn't throw a spiral. Billy Kilmer is the complete opposite of what you would expect from a star quarterback. So, how was it then possible that he led his team to a Super Bowl and became the #1 ranked passer? The truth is, Kilmer's career should have ended before it ever began, because on December 5th, 1962, Kilmer suffered every athlete's worst nightmare: a shattered leg from an auto accident. Doctors weren't just questioning his football future, they wanted to amputate his leg. For most players, that's the end of the story. But Kilmer, not only did he refuse to get his leg amputated, he insisted on returning to the football field. So, after missing the entire 1963 season, he returned in 1964. Now, this should have been a triumphant comeback, but instead, it ended in bitter disappointment. Kilmer was stuck behind John Brody, one of the league's best passers. Because of this, he barely touched the field. And if that wasn't bad enough, coaches questioned his passing ability and arm strength. Kilmer's days in the league were numbered. He was running out of time. But then came a lifeline. In 1967, he was selected by the New Orleans Saints in the expansion draft.
I had a real bad car accident in 1962 that curtailed my playing career. And when this expansion team came up and I was put on the expansion list, I thought to myself, well, here's a chance to show what I can do as a quarterback.
This was the fresh start he needed. But honestly, expectations were rock bottom. He wasn't even viewed as the future, just another player on the depth chart. But Kilmer didn't care one bit. He worked hard like he always did. And by 1969, the doubts finally cracked. Against the Cardinals, Kilmer erupted. 345 yards, 6 touchdowns. Kilmer looked like he had arrived. The only problem? The team didn't grow with him. New Orleans collapsed to a 2-8 record in 1970, and with that failure came a rebuild. Just not in the way Kilmer hoped. In 1971, the Saints drafted quarterback Archie Manning second overall. Once again, Kilmer was pushed aside. Once again, his career was hanging by a thread. So in 1972, he was traded away to Washington, joining the Redskins. Kilmer didn't even want the move. See, Washington already had Sonny Jurgensen, the greatest pure passer and a Redskins legend. Everything Kilmer wasn't. And the media, well, they called his throws wobbly ducks. Kilmer was destined to sit on the bench for his entire career. But then, something unexpected happened.
Star quarterback Sonny Jurgensen dislocates his shoulder, and Washington seems destined for another losing season. But Allen uses the misfortune to draw the team closer together.
We have a lot of bumps and bruises, but we've built the team the same way. We got a guy like Billy Kilmer can come in and lead the team and help us, and that's what we want. So all of this can help make us stronger.
Sonny Jurgensen went down before the 71 season began. Suddenly, with no warning, Kilmer was under center, filling the shoes of one of the greatest quarterbacks alive. Fans booed him, and analysts predicted collapse. Everyone assumed Washington was finished. Everyone except Billy Kilmer. Pressure didn't break him. It never did. It only sharpened him for success. And with the backing of Coach Allen, Kilmer ran the offense. He called the plays and led the locker room. Slowly but surely, the numbers started telling a different story. Then came the moment the league realized Billy Kilmer was different. In Week 13, the Redskins met the LA Rams. The Rams were known for their fearsome foursome on defense. Guys like Deacon Jones, who simply didn't care about the well-being of his opponent. But Kilmer, he didn't give a damn. On the day, he delivered 246 yards, 3 touchdowns. Pretty impressive for a quarterback who couldn't throw.
I gave him that inside move like to the post, and bye-bye again, baby.
It felt like nothing could stop him now. Nothing except himself. After a win over the New York Giants, Kilmer celebrated a little too hard. The next morning, he was arrested for public intoxication. Kilmer locked up overnight, but fortunately was released just in time for the playoffs. But now, whispers began to spread. Was all that drinking holding him back from greatness? Then, Washington fell to the 49ers in the postseason, Kilmer's old team. And these concerns seemed to be proven right. And with Sonny Jurgensen fully healed and waiting, it seemed like this might have been the end of Billy Kilmer. But after everything he'd survived, there was no chance he was giving it back. Kilmer was locked and loaded for redemption. And throughout the season, he played like his head was on fire. And by season's end, something unbelievable happened. Not only did Kilmer lead the league in passing touchdowns, he finished #1 in passer rating, the best quarterback in football on paper. Pretty remarkable for a man famous for throwing floaters, right? But Kilmer didn't care about regular season praise. He knew the truth. The playoffs were the real test. And in the NFC Championship game, that test arrived in the form of a juggernaut. The Dallas Cowboys, reigning champions, chasing a repeat. They were backed by the feared Doomsday defense. Everything said Kilmer shouldn't survive this moment. But instead, he played the game of his life. Against an elite defense, Kilmer was surgical. A near-perfect performance, 148 passer rating on the biggest stage under the heaviest pressure. The same media that mocked his arm went silent. The same fans who booed him had no choice but to cheer him. Billy Kilmer had proven he was that guy. Unfortunately, there would be no fairy tale ending. The Miami Dolphins forged their own dynasty, going back-to-back and denying Washington a title. Kilmer never got the ring. But his story mattered anyway, because to even reach that game, Kilmer had walked through hell, and he did it his way. Loose, fearless, unapologetic. But that raises the uncomfortable question. How much did that freedom cost him? Because in 1976, less than 48 hours before a game against Dallas, Kilmer was arrested for drunk driving. The press pounced immediately, branding him Whiskey Bill. His reputation took another hit. But here's the thing about Billy Kilmer. Come Sunday, none of that mattered. He stepped onto the field and played as well as anyone in the league. Because that was the magic of Billy Kilmer. He lacked polish, he lacked aesthetics, but he never lacked leadership. The 70s were built on toughness, and Billy Kilmer embodied it. He never missed a receiver or a drink.
If we're talking about the big arm and all the measurables, then no, he doesn't belong on this list. If we're talking about winning football games, just look at the results. He belongs.
You know, as a starting quarterback with the Redskins, he never had a losing season with them, and he took them to the playoffs on multiple occasions.
This ball goes to Billy Kilmer because he...